Still talking about the cerebral cortex. Now we are moving on to what we call the parietal lobe, and mostly beneath your parietal bones. It extends from the central sulcus here, right, to the parieto-occipital sulcus, which is back here, which is just between the parietal and the occipital lobes. And this is the parietal lobe. Now, the parieto-occipital sulcus is usually relatively hard to find from a lateral view, so I'll give you a pointer. If you look from the medial surface, it's really easy to find, and then you just follow it out. And I'll bring some models in for you guys to look at as well. So here's your parietal lobe. What goes on in your parietal lobe is one good function for you to know is sensation. So this was the central sulcus, this was the precentral gyrus, and the primary motor cortex was there. This is the postcentral gyrus, and that's where your primary somatosensory cortex is. Somatic sensations, right? You know what that means. Sensations that come from the skin, muscles, and bones are going to go to that postcentral gyrus on the opposite side of the body. So let me show you again what we're talking about here. So the somatosensory cortex is in the postcentral gyrus. It's conscious sensory processing for touch from the opposite side, touch, pain, pressure. So picture that we looked at before, this was the precentral gyrus with the primary motor cortex that controlled motor activity for the opposite side of my body. Now I go back. This is the postcentral gyrus. This area is called the primary somatosensory cortex. Primary somatosensory cortex. So what that does is it is conscious awareness of sensation from the opposite side of your body. Now, again, different things get different amount of real estate because, of course, sensation from my hands, I really need to be able to determine what's going on there. Look how much real estate the face gets, right? And not just a whole hell of a lot of real estate for sensation from the elbow, right? Or from the knee, right? But you got some junk sensation going on there. So this is in the postcentral gyrus. I become consciously aware of something touching me here, postcentral gyrus right about here. When I, for instance, feel something touch my lips, right? I feel that with this portion of my brain. Touch my tongue, feel that slightly lower down, okay? So this is called the primary somatosensory cortex, and it is in the postcentral gyrus of the parietal lobe, okay? Next lobe is the occipital lobe, and the occipital lobe is pretty much from the parieto-occipital occipital sulcus all the way back. Again, the parieto-occipital sulcus is relatively easy to find on a medial view, so you can move back from there. And to oversimplify, most of what's going on in the occipital lobe is vision. Lots of different things about vision, but vision is mostly happening right back here. You become consciously aware of the things that you see when they go to the occipital lobe. Okay, and then this lobe out here is called the temporal lobe. These are kind of pulled apart, so look at it kind of intact. This lateral sulcus down, this is all the temporal lobe. Okay, you have a left and right temporal lobe, of course, and it's mostly beneath your temporal bone, and it's kind of easy to remember at least one of the functions because it's mostly beneath your temporal bone, and that's where a lot of your hearing goes on. Also, a lot of your smell is there, and then some more language goes on in the temporal lobe of mostly the left side. So let's talk about that. So hearing, smell, I'll also do a little bit more language in the left side. So what's in the left side? And this little area right here that's kind of at the junction between the parietal lobe and the temporal lobe is actually considered part of the temporal lobe. The temporal lobe the function that you're seeing there in what we call Wernicke's area, it starts with a W, but it's pronounced with a V. Wernicke's area, this is a speech comprehension area. So the motor speech area was Broca's area. That was like, I know the word, but I'm having trouble producing the word if something goes wrong with Broca's area. Wernicke's area is I am producing word salad, just blah, 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 no necessary connection to the things that I'm trying to communicate. In addition, you have trouble actually understanding what you're being asked as well. So if someone has a stroke in that area, they have a speech comprehension disorder, and they don't have a speech production disorder. So they can produce words. It's just not necessarily the words they intended to produce. When that occurs there, it's called Wernicke's aphasia. And Wernicke's aphasia is linked right here. And it's also sometimes called fluent aphasia because you just keep talking, but you're not necessarily saying what you meant to say. So I'm going to show you what this one is.
Hi, Byron. How are you?
I'm happy. Are you pretty? You look good.
What are you doing today?
We stayed with the water over here at the moment and talked with the people for them over there. They're diving for them at the moment. They'll save in the moment. He'll have water very soon for him. With luck for him.
So we're on a cruise and we're about to
We
get to
will
Juneau.
store it right here and they'll save their hands right there for them.
And what were we just doing with the iPad?
Right at the moment, they don't show a darn thing.
With the iPad that we were doing. Like here?
I'd like my change for me and change hands for me. It would happen. I would talk with Donna sometimes. We're out with them. Other people are working with them. I'm very happy with them.
Good.
This girl was very good and happy. And I play golf and hit other trees. We play out with the hands. We save a lot of hands on hold for us, other hands. I don't know what you get, but I talk with a lot of hand for him. Sometime. Am I talk of any more to saying?
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, and I hope the world lasts for you.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Bye-bye.
Have a good day.
That is Byron. Byron has Wernicke's aphasia. He was being asked questions and not necessarily...
Hi, Byron. How are you?
I'm happy. Are you...
Not necessarily answering the questions he was asked, not necessarily saying the things that he wanted to say, but producing speech fluently. So it's sometimes called fluent aphasia because you just continue to talk. So the next thing you guys should do is on this figure, you should be able to identify the lateral sulcus, the left temporal lobe, and Wernicke's area. And Wernicke's area, by the way, you'll have to figure out anterior versus posterior before you can do figure out what you're looking at. But kind of look at this picture too. Okay, we'll stop there. Oh, actually, yeah.